Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in to the second video of my travel series. I'm Rachel Takeman and I'm trying to better myself in 2020 by tackling a new goal every month and tracking it all through YouTube videos. Thanks for coming back for another video. If you haven't yet, click that subscribe button down below. It's free to you and it's super important to help my channel grow. Only about 30% of you who watch these videos are subscribed. So if you are subscribed, thank you so much. And if you aren't yet subscribed, thank you for watching my videos. Go ahead and click that subscribe button down below. It may lead you to another page where you'll have to sign into YouTube, but it's super easy to use your Gmail account. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this. I do shoutouts at the end of every video, and my shoutouts are to thank someone who has subscribed to my channel and commented on my most recent video. If you guys have not yet seen my last two videos, check out the link to my March playlist in the corner of this video screen. My March goal is spiritual discipline. Throughout this whole month, I'm focusing on reading through the book of Job, praying naturally throughout the day, and meditating on a new verse every week. This week, I'll be meditating on Colossians 1 verse 16, the English Standard Version, which says, "For by him all things were created in heaven and on earth, visible and invisible, whether thrones or dominions or rulers or authorities, all things were created through him and for him." Last week's verse was all about the beauty of God's creation, which was fitting for our travels through Ireland. This week's verse is kind of similar because it's again about how God created everything. But this week I'm focusing a little bit less on the nature part and a little more on the part of the verse that says thrones or dominions or rulers or authorities, to remind myself that all the castles and churches we visited and everything similar that we'll see in this next week was created through God and for God. Last Sunday I told you guys about our plans for travel every day through Saturday when we stopped in Howth, Ireland. We arrived in Howth Saturday night, which will be last night by the time you're watching this video. We stayed in an Airbnb on the outskirts of Dublin and explored Howth yesterday. But today is Sunday, so we're traveling to a new destination, which is Cork. On the way from Howth to Cork, we're stopping at the National Birds of Prey Center, where we will learn about falconry. Something you have to know about my husband is he has a strange fascination with birds. All birds, but especially falcons. He gets distracted watching them fly. So he is going to love this part of the trip. Birds of Prey Center is only €8 to be able to go on a falcon walk and learn how to handle the falcons, which will terrify me but will thrill Justin. Birds of Prey Center is about 50 minutes south of Howth, and then we have a 2.5-hour drive from there to get to Cork. But right outside of Cork is Blackrock Castle, so we'll be stopping there on our way. Maybe not to tour, but definitely just to look at. I am obsessed with old European castles, so I'm trying to see as many of them as possible. There's a few exciting things we want to see in Cork other than just walking around and exploring the city. We want to see the cathedral and the Shannon Bells, and I've also researched a couple good local breweries. But what we're most looking forward to in Cork is our Airbnb. We're staying in a treehouse. I found this super cool Airbnb that's an actual treehouse on someone's property. It cost $173.98 for one night, so it was about triple the price of our other Airbnbs, but it was worth it to splurge for one night. It's perfect because it actually has a working toilet, sink, and shower inside, and the host uses a pulley lift to deliver warm croissants in the morning. And look at this view of Cork. I seriously cannot wait to spend the night here tonight. So we're spending the day exploring Cork today, and then we're leaving Cork tomorrow morning and heading up northwest to Galway. But before we get to Galway, we're stopping at Blarney Castle, which is an iconic spot in Ireland where you can kiss the magical Blarney Stone. And then we're also spending a few hours at the Cliffs of Moher, which is about 2.5 hours from Cork. This place looks so beautiful, and I've heard that it's a must-see in Ireland. I've also heard that it tends to be very busy, no matter what time of year you visit, but it's so big that there is plenty of room to explore. And I can't wait to just wander around, again meditating on my Bible verse to remind myself of the beauty in God's creation. From the Cliffs of Moher, we will drive about an hour to get to Galway. So if we have time, we might choose to stop at this other castle halfway through, or at least drive by it. Then finally, we will arrive at Galway. I'm so excited to tour this cute little town. We're excited to see the Spanish Arch, the Galway Cathedral, and Lynch's Castle. We will be staying in an Airbnb 10 minutes outside the city. This Airbnb costs $48.65 and it has a washer and dryer. I made sure to find an Airbnb that has a washer and dryer in either Cork or Galway, which is about halfway through our trip, so that we could just pack for 1 week and then just wash our clothes halfway through. On Tuesday morning, we will be leaving Galway. On our way out, we're going to visit Menlo Castle, which is this really cool castle. Again, I don't really need to take an official tour, I just want to see all the castles I can. This one's from the 16th century and it's giving me Moana vibes. How cool does this look? From Menlo Castle, we're we're driving almost 2.5 hours east to get back to Dublin. We really got around Ireland. Look how much ground we covered. I feel like we're going to spend a lot of the trip driving, but I think it's worth it because we're going on country roads, so we will see the country landscape of Ireland, and because we're getting to see so many different areas. So we're spending Tuesday in Dublin. That's right, St. Patrick's Day in Dublin. We have scoped out the best pubs to go to and the best places to view the parade, and we're pumped. We really don't have anything planned for that day in terms of tourism. We're just spending the day living like the locals and partying with the locals. That night we're staying in another Airbnb in Dublin that costs $74.31. This time in Dublin, we didn't really care about being close to the city center because we will still have a rental car. So after Tuesday in Dublin, that wraps up our time in Ireland. On Wednesday morning, we will be taking our rental car back up to Dublin Airport and flying British Airways over to London. Our flight lands in London Heathrow Airport around noon, so we will still have most of the day to explore. Since this flight is only an hour and a half long, they didn't include luggage in the price unless you upgrade. Our plane tickets were $141.04 total for the both of us, which is not bad if you consider how much it would be for the same distance flight in the US, but that's kind of on the expensive side for flights within Europe. When we get to London, we will be going right to our Airbnb. Since we don't have a rental car at this point, I needed to find another Airbnb host who could meet us early to let us drop off our luggage. This way we won't be stuck with it while we're exploring during the day. This Airbnb is the one we'll be staying in for 4 nights. It's right near the city center and it cost $184.75 total. After dropping off our luggage, we're planning to go back out to visit all the places that we can visit for free. This includes some of the places that you could pay for a tour of, but we don't really think it's necessary for us. We're hoping to see Kensington Palace, the Diana Memorial Fountain, Hyde Park, Buckingham Palace, Westminster Palace, and Big Ben. We also paid in advance for tickets to go on the London Eye, since it's not included in anything we're doing for the next couple days. We're using this 2-for-1 deal through Days Out Guide in association with National Rail, so the price is £30 total, which is about $39. And then that night we're planning to head over to Piccadilly Circus to find food and entertainment. For Thursday and Friday, we purchased 2-day tickets for the London Pass. The London Pass has an app so we could download our tickets and not have to use data. It costs $244.20 for the both of us, which seems like a lot, but it includes free entry to over 80 popular attractions, plus admission to a hop-on, hop-off bus. And all the attractions we want to see, except the London Eye, which we're doing on Wednesday, are included in the London Pass. So Thursday and Friday, we're trying to see as much of the city as we can using our passes. On Thursday, we're going to see the Tower of London, the Sky Garden, St. Paul's Cathedral, and the Shard. And on Friday, we're going to see Westminster Abbey and Beefeater Gin Distillery. And then we're going on a riverboat cruise on the Thames River and going down the slide at ArcelorMittal Orbit. And again, we have free entry to over 80 attractions, so once we visit all we have planned, we still have more to explore. Saturday is our last full day in Europe, so we're doing something a little bit different. This whole trip has been stuff that we planned on our own without any help from a travel agent or a tour company, literally just plans we pieced together from hours upon hours of research and from advice from friends and family who have been to these places. But on Saturday, we're taking a day-long bus trip out of the city of London. If we had another week to spend in Europe, we for sure would be renting a car again and traveling to some of the smaller cities in England like we did for Ireland. But even with 4 days in England, we wanted to see more than just London itself. So our tour is through Premium Tours and they're taking us to Stonehenge, Windsor Castle, and back. This tour is leaving from London and returning to London, so it's super convenient. And it cost us $246.67. Again, this might seem like a lot, but we think that it's worth it. As I've been mentioning all the prices of everything we planned ahead, I want to just be super transparent about everything with this trip in case you guys are wondering how much all this would cost. And when I share my travel vlog at the end of our trip, I'll give you guys a grand total of how much we spent in advance, as well as how much we spend while we're there on extra tourism expenses, transportation, food, and souvenirs. But this is all just to give you an idea of how much we spent. When we booked this trip, we were looking at the cheapest options for everything. But as we kept on planning things, we realized more and more that this is a once-in-a-lifetime trip for us. We might not ever be back to Ireland and England because there's so many other places on our bucket list. So we focused a little less on budget and tried to find a good balance between splurging on awesome experiences and trying to find the cheapest options. So if you're wanting to travel to Ireland or England in the future, just know that you can do it for cheaper than we did or for much more expensive than we did, all depending on what you want to do. We wanted to make the most of our time and see as much as we could in the time we had, but also make the most of our money and get deals whenever we could. So anyway, we're taking this bus tour out of London that will give us transportation to and from London and entrance to Stonehenge, Windsor Castle and Bath. I love watching The Crown, and I'm a little obsessed with the royal family, so I'm super excited to go to Windsor Castle. This trip will take up our whole day, so if anything, we might do something Saturday night for a last night in London. On Sunday, we're traveling home. We're flying out of London Gatwick Airport, which is a little less convenient to get to than Heathrow, but again, I used the Rome to Rio app to figure out the best way to get there. We'll be flying from Gatwick to JFK at 9:50 a.m., and we will be taking Norwegian Airlines, which is kind of a weird airline. We have a basic ticket, which they call a low-fare ticket. It includes an underseat bag and an overhead carry-on, but it doesn't include any checked bags. This is the main reason why we only checked one bag, because it cost $50 for each checked bag. The other weird thing about Norwegian is that it doesn't appear that they provide a meal on this 8.5-hour flight. You have to purchase a meal for £30, which is almost $40 for airplane food. But it was the cheapest flight out of the area, so I guess you get what you pay for, and we'll just have to bring snacks with us. We'll be landing at JFK around 2 p.m., and we have our car parked in a lot close by. So we should not be home too late, which is nice because we'll be super jet lagged, and I have to work Monday morning. So how will my goals fit into travel this week? Same as last week, I'll continue Bible reading on my phone and continue praying naturally and organically throughout the day. And my Bible verse this week is related to not only the things we see in creation, but also the man-made things that we see that ultimately came from God. I hope all these things will be a reminder of God's amazing power. We are so excited about this second part of our European adventure, and I'm so excited to share it all with you in a couple weeks. Thank you guys so much for watching this video and for following along with our travels. Tune in next week to learn about how the first week of my March goal went. So my shout out this week is another travel-related shout out. This one goes to Haley Warner. Haley sat down with me a couple times after we booked our flights to help me map out the flow of the trip and figure out how much we could realistically do. She helped me budget and plan an itinerary and introduced me to the Sigic travel app, which as you guys have seen, I've used a ton. And she even helped me exchange currency in advance. She's like my own personal travel agent, and I really would not have been nearly as confident going on this trip if it hadn't been for her help. So huge shout out to Haley. Thank you guys so much for watching my videos. If you like this video, hit that thumbs up button and comment below if you have any suggestions on where we should go for our last few days in Ireland and in England. And hit the subscribe button and notification bell next to it so you don't miss a video. I hope you guys have an awesome week, and I'll see you next week.